Hey party people, how's it going? It's your man DJ Fernando G inviting you to hit the subscribe button and make sure to click the bell as well so that you don't miss one episode of DJ to DJ. That's where I talk to amazingly talented DJs from across the nation and they tell us how they got started in the business. Plus, coming soon I'll be doing some tutorials as well as talking about my experience on radio and how you can become an on-air DJ mixer. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and I'll see you on the flip side. Today on DJ to DJ with Fernando G, we welcome DJ, MC, and entertainer Rob Ferre, talking about how his experience of working at the Disney resorts and Universal Studios took his DJ biz to new heights, and how it opened the door to speak at numerous corporate events around the world, as well as becoming the halftime show host for the Utah Jazz. Let's welcome Rob Ferre. What's up, party people? Welcome to another edition of DJ to DJ, and today I have the honor of hanging out with this guy, and this guy is something else, let me tell you. Let's welcome Rob Ferre, and let's find out why he's known as the life of the party. What's up, bud?
How you doing? Thanks for bringing me upon DJ to DJ. So honored to be here.
Oh, man, it's an honor to have you on board, man. So as you know, this little platform here is to discuss how DJs became DJs and what, geared them towards this lifestyle. So that's the first question. Why did you get into DJing?
So a lot of the other guys you probably talked to, they probably started when they were like 14 or whatever. They did something interesting because they were in radio or they started doing house parties. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. I actually did radio in college. I was a broadcast communications major at Southern Utah University in Cedar City.
Nice.
But I didn't go into radio. I just did it. I did radio at the college level, and I had fun doing it. But all my life, I've been an entertainer. So I'm more of a entertainer than a DJ. DJing is a platform for me to be in front of audiences and entertain people. And so for some people, it's about the music. Some people, it's about the technology. For me, it's about entertaining. And what we do is entertainment, right? It's a form of entertainment.
Exactly.
But I did college radio, but then what got me really into DJing is when I moved to Orlando, Florida, and I was working at Walt Disney World. And when I was at Walt Disney World, I went and worked at the MGM Studios parking lot. Yeah, I had a college degree in broadcast communications, and I was doing what was called the college program internship, but
Nice.
It turned out this internship was slave labor. And so I was working in the parking lot, and I was like, this is not what I signed up for. But I met a man named Elliot Hansen who was running a company called Electromagic. And funny enough, Electromagic is owned by the same people who own Promo Only. Jim Robinson and his partner, they started Electromagic, and they were like, we need a solution. We need music for DJs. Let's do a subscription service. So that was their business, but Elliot was running their company at the time. He saw me at a talent show, and a couple of weeks later, he saw me at another event where I was asking for a request. I was that guy who was going up to him like, hey, okay, now play the cha-cha slide. Now do this. Can we do this song? And he's like, you should become a DJ. And so he taught me the interactive DJ way. Yeah. And it was just very different. I started cutting my teeth as a DJ in theme parks. So that is where it all started for me. And my first job as an official theme park DJ was working at the Men in Black ride at Universal Studios. Cool. While people waited in line in the hot summer heat, I played music and jams to entertain them, to take their mind and worries off of waiting in that line. And it was a lot of fun because every 20 minutes there'd be a new group of people, and I would play some of the same songs, do some of the same jokes. Yep. I probably played the cha-cha slide 20 times that day or whatever, or the Macarena. It's very easy to do while you're standing in line. So I didn't cut my teeth in the clubs or at high school events or community things. It was in theme parks, and I worked all over Universal. We did downtown Disney dance parties.
Nice.
I also worked as a DJ at the Nickelodeon Hotel, so I was their in-house guy. There was not a lot of freelancing with that. It was pretty much stick to the playlist, play the music, press the buttons. But that's where I got it started. So I then moved from Orlando, Florida to Utah, This is where I live right now. This doesn't quite represent it, but you get it. I could probably change the backdrop on this to represent what Utah looks like.
Right.
Sorry, I muted myself.
And
this is where I'm from. It's not necessarily. Wait a second here. I'm going to do this. We're going to make this happen. I'm going to make it work.
You're a savvy man.
Okay. So here we go. This is Salt Lake City, Utah. Where is my backdrop for Salt Lake? I don't have it.
Dope.
It's on my other computer. So how sad is that? I get you guys all worked up and thinking, yeah, he's going to show us the backdrop for Salt Lake City. And it's not there. Oh. But this is the Jungle Cruise. I used to work at the Jungle Cruise. Anyway, I'm going to get rid of that. Anywho, I'm back here at Salt Lake City, Utah. I started my business, Life at the Party. That's what you said, right. 13 years ago. And so going strong and, going strong relatively, I guess.
Right now, yeah.
People are watching this in the time of COVID. They should know that things are relatively okay. I mean, July's been actually a pretty good month for me. Now
you actually did something during when the pandemic took off. You were literally the first DJ that I saw jump into action. Like everybody else, we were all starting to, mix live on our social media streams and stuff. But you jumped into action to keep yourself in the public eye. Tell us what you did.
Yeah, I did what I branded as the doorstep DJ. And I started doing these socially distant dance parties. And it was interesting. I imagine like yourself, a lot of people approached me on Facebook and we need something. You should do some virtual dance parties or virtual sets. And I saw everybody doing that. And I thought I could do that, but I could do something even better and do these dance parties in people's neighborhoods. So I approached my assistant who works for me, and I said, can I come to your neighborhood? Your neighborhood will be the beta test. And I know you have a fun neighborhood, and people will be all for it. She's like, yes. So we went to her neighborhood, and we did what is called the doorstep DJ dance party. I had battery-powered speakers. I wanted everything to be battery-powered or via generator, so I wouldn't have to plug into people's homes, and we just did it for free. And we went to her neighborhood, and it was a hit. And the funny thing is they invited the news to come. I didn't have anything to do with that. Wow. So a local news station comes and they cover it, and then it just blows up from there.
Nice.
And when I started doing it, I just asked for donations. I said, hey, help a starving DJ. I wasn't starving. But I did it as a free community event. Some communities paid me more than others or donated more, but I just did it based on donations. And the funny thing is I started collaborating with two other DJs who are from California, like yourself. Graham Silver, who's down in Southern California, and up in the north, Ryan Ottinger, who started doing these parties too. And they started doing it on their own, and it was just kind of funny because we all had the same idea. Yep. And I saw some other DJs doing it in their front yards, but I was like, I'm a mobile DJ. I need to be in front of audiences. And so I put out the grand rules. I said, you got to be in your front yards or on your lawns or be socially distant from all the other people in your neighborhood, but let's create something fun. And I only did it for a half hour because we had to change, and I couldn't be there for it. Because when you're doing a 2-hour, 3-hour event, it can be lots of different people doing different things. There's drinks, there's events, but this was a show. I made it a show. I said, we're starting at 3 o'clock, we end at 3:30, and I have different points, different interactive dances. And so that's what I did. And it kept me going. It kept me relevant. It kept me in the community's eye. So that's what I had to do.
Excellent. That's fabulous, man. Yeah, I collaborate a lot with Graham Silver out here. And it was funny because, literally the day that I saw that, I said, check out Rob. I go, look at him jumping into action. I go, here we are doing all this stuff on Facebook and, virtual dance parties. And he's out there making it happen. And then Graham calls me a couple of days later. He goes, did you see what Rob is doing? He goes, yeah. And he goes, I had thought of that idea, but I didn't jump on it. He beat me to it. He's a great guy.
To Graham's credit, he's still doing it. My social distancing dance parties have fallen off. But where you are in California, where there's more of a quarantine type atmosphere, I would say, Utah, we're kind of like, sweet, let's go outside.
Yeah.
He's still doing it. He created a website.
Yeah.
He's done like over 100. I did maybe 30. So,
well, nevertheless, you were the first one to come out with it.
Right.
So we got to give you that credit.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And he had the idea, and I was just able to jump on it first. I think I did it maybe the second weekend because I was just getting stir crazy, and I was just like, we need to do something. Especially with people and their kids at home.
Yep.
They're now living a new normal where there's kids at home, and they're like, I'm not a teacher.
I got 2 here that I deal with all day long, so I feel it. So I like to consider you like the Pied Piper DJ. And the reason why I say that is because every time I see a video of you on YouTube or on social media, you're directing people in a dance. And the most amazing thing is that I as a DJ, I've tried doing the cha-cha slide and all that stuff, and it doesn't work for me. But you tend to gravitate people towards you and make it happen. But this is not only at weddings and birthday celebrations. You do it at corporate events as well. So how is it that you just get the people to react to you like that?
Right. As I was talking about earlier, DJs are all wired in different ways. They all come to DJing in different ways. I was trained as a theme park DJ, and that's what I did. And Elliot taught me all the interactive dances, and it's the same stuff that DJs that are trained up in the Northeast. And when I say the Northeast, because that's where all the bar mitzvahs are. Tons of DJs are up there, and that's what they do is they have an MC, they have a DJ, but I was doing MC and host and DJing and getting out on the dance floor. So that's kind of where I learned it all. And it's just kind of within me to do that. And the funny thing is I'm kind of opposite of a lot of DJs where it was about the music for them. For me, it was about the entertaining. And now I'm doing less and less interactivity, and I'm focusing more on the beat mixing, the mixes that I can create, the songs that I've curated. Because I've been going to a lot of DJ conferences, and I'm watching other DJs saying, I'm not that. I want to be more like that. And I've been to weddings that Brian B has DJ'd. I've seen Jason Janai in action, and I've seen Nick Spinelli in action. And I'm watching. These guys are masters of the mix and the music and the curation. And I've seen you online, and you're in the. And what I gotta say about you, you got the voice. You got one of those things that I always listen to my voice. I'm like, I don't have that deep, but smooth voice like you do. I have to kind of make it sound like I'm not being authentic. And then you got that smooth Spanish way when I've seen you do it. And so everybody brings something to the table, right? And that's kind of what I do. And I like how you say the Pied Piper. I do that with kids all the time. I actually run a DJ forum called Kids and Family DJ Event Forum because I want to give those type of DJs ideas that they can do. Because what I've also seen is as DJs get older, they get stuck in their ways. They're like, I do kids parties. The chicken dance works every time. I know the chicken dance works every time, but if that is like the only thing that you can go to, you got it. Kids right now, they're reacting to things that are on TikTok, and you got to stay relevant. And so being a Pied Piper, you got to also know what the right pipes are. I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
The right grooves, right? But that's kind of where I come from. But it's funny because I've now evolved more. I get really excited about the mixes and the beat mixing and all those type of things.
It's fun, when you start. I mean, I'm setting up a tutorial right now of how I learned to beat mix back in the 80s. And
wow,
it was literally records, okay. And my brother Marco, he was the one that actually introduced me to DJing, and he was trying to teach me, but my ear was just not trained. And as much as I loved the music, I didn't understand the concept. And so back then, I was a kid, and I had gone to my dad, can you hook me up? Can you buy me turntables and a mixer? And he's all like, nah, you can work for it. Go get a job. So I said, all right. So I went out and got a part-time job on Saturdays. I was delivering furniture. I would get paid cash every 2 weeks, and I'd go up to my local Radio Shack and put things on layaway. So my first set was 2 realistic turntables with the pitch control, a little knob, and a realistic mixer. So that's how I got started, and I just started practicing. And for like about maybe 5 years, my mixing was just awful. And if you hear the interview that I did with AJ Moria, he talks about when I used to take my cassette tapes and check it out, dude, check it out. And like 98% of the mixes were a total mess, horse races, offbeat, and maybe 3 mixes were on beat. And I was like, that's how I got to get it. But I didn't know what I was doing. But
right,
you'll see in the tutorial how it was that I was able to grasp it and say, now I got it. And it's funny because I use the exact same technique with my son, and now he's beat mixing literally after his second try. So hopefully I'll be able to help others.
So much easier these days.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's so much easier
with controllers and everything and the effects and stuff. It's incredible. So another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was your presence, because you are by far, my friend, the sharpest dressed DJ that I know. Okay. And I've told you this a million times. Every time I've chatted with you, it's like, dude, I mean, you have a suit for every occasion. I don't know how many suits you own, but you even have a platform. Where'd you go? He's got something. There we go.
During the quarantine, I have bought 7 suits.
Oh my gosh. One for every occasion.
So if people are watching this is my new American suit.
Nice.
St. Patrick's Day, Star Wars.
Oh my gosh.
And I got 2 Christmas suits, 2 for the price of 1. Actually, I bought them at 50% off. They sent me one that was not the right suit. He said, keep it. So I basically got 2 suits for the price of a quarter. I don't know. Anyway, so
wow.
Yeah, I'm into this thing. I'm really into suits, and
it's funny.
Sorry, I had to preempt that.
The very first time that I met you, that I saw you, was at Mobile Beat. You were speaking on stage, and you were dressed up to the T. And I think that year you were the only speaker that I saw go up there that was just dressed sharp, and you were very eloquent at speaking and stuff like that. And then that night, Vanilla Ice performs.
Yeah.
So Vanilla Ice performs, and I'm videotaping.
Yes.
And I see this guy jump up on stage, dressed in this funky outfit, a la Vanilla Ice. And as I start zooming in, it's my friend Rob Ferre.
Yeah, I have that video. I think you had the best angle. Plus, you're much taller in stature, so you were above
everyone else.
Yeah. It's what I love to do. I love to dress up. My favorite my favorite holiday of the year is Halloween.
Nice.
I live for it, and so any opportunity to dress up, be in a theme, but I think there's a time and a place.
Yes.
Like people are always like, "Yeah, are you going to wear one of your crazy suits?" I'm like, "No, it's not appropriate." Mm-hmm. But I have these crazy suits because I wear them for different things. They help me stand out. I know there are some people who would never ever do that, and I get that. Mm-hmm. But I do like to dress the part. I actually have another forum. We were talking about forums. Yep. It's called the Dapper DJ.
The Dapper DJ.
Are you in my Dapper DJ group by any chance?
I actually just joined it.
Perfect.
So,
yes, you did. I just let you in the other day.
Yes.
So the Dapper DJ. But I think sometimes as DJs, we also do not take the time to think about what we're wearing. Mm-hmm. We need to evolve as fashion evolves, as music evolves. We're so excited about the latest and greatest gear, but sometimes we don't worry about how we look.
Right.
And I think if you look good, you feel good, right? It's that old moniker. And I also want to make sure that people are dressing up and fitting the time frame, because a lot of DJs I see are still wearing those early 2000 flashy vests that they used to wear at Hollywood Video, and it's just so bad. And it's just like, okay, cool, I let go of it. And I just bought 3 new jackets the other day. They were on sale from Macy's. Once again, I'm always looking for a sale, but I'm always looking to evolve and update my wardrobe and have something new and something that works. And so not only am I looking at what other people are wearing, I'm listening to their music, I'm seeing their brand. And so it's a part of my brand. And I do appreciate you thinking about that, because it's just something I think is important to me. You interviewed Joe Bunn, and he's a T-shirt gold chain guy, right? That's just not authentic to me, but it's authentic to him. But when he dresses up, he looks good, right?
He looks sharp.
And so everybody's got their own brand they have to
own. It's interesting because when I first got into radio, I started off at Power 106 here, and then the next gig was at a Spanish station called Caleb 107.5 here. And the guy that worked the production studio, he did all the commercials. You very rarely seen him because he was always in the studio. It's this dark room, just producing commercials and all this stuff. But I would go in there to ask him to record liners and things like that for the promotions. But the guy was always in a suit, I mean, a suit, dressed sharp. And I'm thinking, and one day I asked him, I said, "Hey, Jose Luis," I said, just real quick, just out of curiosity, I said, "You're always locked up in this room, but you're always in a suit." I said, "What's the story?" And he says, "I have your father to thank for that," because my father worked at that same radio station. And he says, "Cool. I have your father to thank for that, because one day I told him that, eventually I wanted to grow into something else. And your dad said, dress for where you want to be, not for where you're at."
Right.
Today, he is a general manager of a local radio station here in Los Angeles.
And how many years ago was that?
This was probably back in 96. 96. He started working his way
20
up.
years ago.
Yeah. He was doing that in the suit, production.
Wow,
he worked
good for
production
him.
probably for like about 3 years, got into sales, started selling. Little by little, just started working his way up the ladder, became a local sales manager, became general sales manager. Now he runs the entire station.
He's dressing for the part he wants.
Exactly.
And he shows up. That's all thing about when it comes to DJing, you got to show up. People getting there 2 hours in advance, getting everything set up, being ready to go. You show up. And and if we're going to get into the weeds here, I actually show up to gigs. I set up in my outfit. And I know for some people that's not physically possible because they sweat through their suits. I don't sweat as much. Right. So I'm not going to put that on you. But when I show up, I'm going to set up in the outfit that I'm going to do. And I've done it in a way where I just hate changing either in my car or in a bathroom at a venue. I just hate that. And so to me, it's about showing up, and I'm not going to fault anybody who has to change or whatever, but you do feel better about who you are. You show up, you turn heads, people take you a little bit more seriously. And the funny thing is, I also, when I fly, I like to wear suits when I fly. Back in the day, back in the 60s and the 70s, they used to wear suits. I still wear a suit when I fly. And I know a lot of people like the ability to be comfortable, but I think it makes you feel better, and maybe you get a little bit more respect. I don't know, but it's also about how you treat other people. We can't forget that either. If you dress up and you're a complete schmuck, then you don't get that respect either. And it sounds like this gentleman who you're talking about also respected the people that he worked around, but he respected himself.
He did. He's an extremely nice guy. And I've always respected him. His work ethic is impeccable. And that's what I like about you. And it's like,
Thank you.
When I saw you on stage and everything, I didn't know who you were. I mean, this was the first time I had ever seen and heard of you, but I was really impressed with your presentation. I was very impressed the way you handled yourself. And I walked up to you to say hello, and I was expecting you to be like, yeah, okay, whatever. You talked to me for like about 10 minutes. We chatted. And then...
And was Jerry there too?
Yeah,
I remember you and Jerry. You
Yeah.
guys are always kind of like together.
It's my brother, man. It's my brother.
Yeah. I mean, and so you guys were so just very kind and gracious. And I appreciate you saying that, because I have met people who are different when they are off stage than on stage. And I
Yes.
talk about being congruent.
Yep.
You want to be congruent. You want to be that same person that's on stage and off stage. If I have this persona, I'm like, hey, how's it going? All right. And then I get off stage and like, hey, all right, you mean nothing to me. Okay. And I've learned this thing. It's called relationship and arrogance. Okay. And you are forecasting a perceived value onto somebody. So if I look at you, Fernando, and like, he has nothing to offer me. He's never going to hire me for a job. I don't know him. He's probably not a big shot like this guy over here. So I'm going to pay more attention to him, right? That's relationship arrogance. And I never want to do that to another human being. I want to be able to just get to know people on a human level and not on perceived value or what they're wearing or what I know about them.
Exactly. It goes back to the old story of, you never know where people will end up, because that one person that came up to you and said, hey, how's it going? And you shine them on later on down the line. May be the big shot,
Right.
and
exactly.
looking for a person like you, but will remember you and say, yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah, he was a bit of a twat.
Exactly. So the Dapper DJ, I just joined it, and one of the things, and you mentioned the Macy's discounts. It's really cool because aside from DJs posting their pictures of themselves and everything, looking dapper, I mean, you actually give help, advice, and everything, and show off little Macy's discounts and everything. It's really cool. I enjoyed it very much. So that's why I joined.
Where you can get also masks that will work for your DJ setup. I have, there's links where you can find ties and bow ties that match your mask and things like that. So lots of different resources. It's just a sharing community. I make no money off of it. All it is just making DJs better dressers. And I think we have around 600 people in that group.
Nice.
And I'm only friends with 200 of them. So I feel really cool about that it's just kind of grown. And people are now like interested in looking good.
Excellent. So another forte of yours, we talked about you doing your corporate speaking and all. How many events do you do a year? Because I see you all over the place.
It really varies. I really enjoy the speaking end of things. I enjoy sharing, and it all really started with speaking at DJ conferences. The first conference I ever spoke at was the Las Vegas DJ show, the one that Drax and the ADGA put on years ago. Ever since then, I kind of got the bug. I've spoken at the other industry conferences like Mobile Beat, Wedding MBA, Wedding Wire World, but I'm trying to find more of a balance towards speaking because it's a little bit easier and the paycheck's a little bit better. But I really enjoy kind of shifting. I know a lot of DJs shift as they go along. Some become owners of bigger companies and they have multiple DJs that work underneath them, or they just charge more and they do less events. And so I am trying to scale down. 2020's helped me to scale down
a little bit.
events.
Slow
I do
you down just a tad, right?
Yeah. All right. In 2018, I think I did 189 events, and I had a goal in 2019 to do less, and I think I did 187.
Jeez.
So it's ridiculous, but I do a whole variety from kids events, weddings, bar mitzvahs, speaking. But speaking is kind of where the future is for me. I really enjoy it, and I'm looking to go beyond the event industry. And now I'm doing virtual events, and that's really been a lot of fun. DJing virtual events, emceeing for conferences, and doing some keynoting. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, and the hardest thing for us right now is to shift and find opportunities. And
exactly. Well,
looks like you're doing okay.
Well, I'm trying. I'm, and it was funny because I literally have to thank Joe Bunn for this. When he launched his his COVID thing, and we started talking about how to reinvent yourself and stuff. As you know, I work for radio stations out in Las Vegas, and I do mix shows and stuff. But when COVID hit, all the clubs stopped advertising, which meant cutbacks. So the mix shows stopped, and everything was just cut back to a minimum. I'm still doing things for them, but it was like, man, what am I going to do now? There's no more events. My events are either postponed or canceled. What do I got to do? And I'm watching one of Joe's live Zoom presentations on Facebook. And so he asked the question, hey, so what are you guys trying to do to make money? And I just type in, hey, I record DJ drops. Boom. Yeah. He goes, Fernando G is recording DJ drops. Reach out to him. Bam, 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 bam. All of a sudden, my Facebook starts blowing up. Hey, how much you charge? How much you charge? How much you charge? And so I was like, whoa. And so he reaches out to me and he goes, hey, man. He goes, send me your information. Send me the link to your website. Send me rates. I was like, I don't got anything. I just said it at that moment. So I rushed, put together a quick little website. Boom. Yeah. And then it took off. And I started this thing. I had wanted to do it for a while, the DJ to DJ. I just wasn't sure how to do it. I kept putting that, but in my head. And finally I just, now let's just do it. And so I just kind of started to reinvent myself, utilizing the platforms that I had, the connections that I have, such as people like yourself, Joe, right. Other people that work in radio. So, I mean, I got a lot of things planned that I'm hoping will help the up and coming DJ to be better than what we are and take the next generation to the next level. Like I say, I'm training my son and his friends to be my teen division of my event group. Because quinceañeras, bar mitzvahs, and sweet 16s, they don't want to see a bald, chubby guy like me up there. They want the youngin'. So luckily for me, my kids are good looking and I'm training them well. So that's the whole idea, is to progress. Now, talking about progressing, you, my friend, also do game show hosting, and you've done some fun stuff with the Utah Jazz. Let's talk about that.
Yes, let's talk about it. Just to unpack very quickly what you just said there, Joe's been an amazing resource to the DJ community. Oh, yeah. The vault he's created, but also being able to want to help other DJs. Yes. And so he's giving them resources. And I think everybody's finding a different way to take this pandemic and pivot. And we hear that word all the time. It's the buzzword, and everybody hates the word pivot. But it took a pandemic for you to create this podcast or this show and to also start doing these drops. And now you have another source of revenue. You're also having opportunities to connect and learn from other DJs. And so I think it's really important for people to start capitalizing upon maybe some of the things they put on the back burner. Exactly. One of the things that I do is the game show, and I've always wanted to be a game show host. I was doing it when I worked at the Nickelodeon Hotel, and that was a lot of fun. I moved back to Utah, and I dabbled in doing different game shows for corporate events, and so I created what is called the best game show ever. I had it written down as a goal to create that 4 years ago. And so now I do some of my own original games mixed in with other known games like The Feud and Jeopardy and things like that. Mm-hmm. Then I met a mentor of mine, Jason Hewlett, entertainer, referred me to the Utah Jazz, and I started doing their halftime game shows this year. And it was like I landed this dream job. And then COVID hit. I don't foresee myself doing those game shows again in the near future. It might be 2 years down the road that they bring back halftime entertainers and performers. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But it was an amazing opportunity. And once again, going back to our guy with the suit, he's going to be like our example for this. I dressed for the part. I projected out into the universe that this is what I wanted to do. And I think in a perfect world, if we could take everything away, I could just be a game show host for the rest of my life. If that could pay the bills, that's what I would do. But I have to diversify and do these different things. Yeah. But I'm now doing the virtual game show. I've had other friends in the DJ community approach me about doing game shows for their clients, collaborating with other DJs. And I think that's another important thing is collaboration and finding opportunities to help other DJs. Yeah, we can't have this silo mentality that we live on this island, that everybody else is going to take our jobs, because here's the reality. You can't do all the jobs. And the thing is, you have a very special talent with your voice and with your production skills, especially from the radio industry and the imaging that you can create. This is the perfect pivot for you. And so I think we all have our talents, and I think we all focus on we should be focusing on things that make us happy. And that's what really makes me happy, is giving away free stuff and entertaining people through my game shows. And so that's kind of where I am with that.
Yeah. I mean, right now, obviously we're in a laid back setting. We're just chatting, talking DJ to DJ, but your performance on stage, it's just, your energy level just boom, explodes. And, I've been around celebrities and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see how some of them, when you meet them in person, face to face, off stage, they're very laid back, very calm, very relaxed. Oh, hi, how are you? And this and that. Then all of a sudden you see them on stage and they explode. They're just, And you do that at the drop of a dime, because I've seen you chat. Okay, well, I got to go do my thing and I'll be back. And then next thing you know, it's Rob Ferre, bam. And you're just, very animated. You're just, you're smiling, your energy just takes off.
Yeah.
What is the trick to that? Talk to us about that.
I don't know if there's any trick. It's just a thing that you got to do. But there is no trick. What it is for me is, I often tell people what my why is, and one of my whys is to be able to travel the world and take my wife with me and just get paid to do that. And I love doing that. But another thing that fuels my soul and my energy is people. A screaming crowd, the energy from the people I absorb, and it instantly goes into my body, and then I perform. And so right now I'm staring at a screen and I'm trying to perform for an audience. So hopefully I can, what the energy I put out into the universe comes back to me. There's Monsters Inc. And when little kids scream, it fuels the canister. For me, it's not screaming, but it's happy, fun, engaged people fuels my canister and gives me that energy. So that's really all it is knowing if I'm at a 10, people will give me a 9, hopefully, or an 8. Nice. And I can get that energy from my audience. And so once again, going back to my friend Jason Hewlett, he talks about the promise. And the promise is something I also want to bring to the DJ community out. My goal is one day to be able to MC a industry DJ conference, either that be Mobile or something like that, and bring in Jason Hewlett, who talks on the promise. And he says we have to keep our promises. And he has 3 different facets of the promise. Your family, either your God or whoever is the most important person in your life, and your audience. And your audience, no matter how big or small they are, you have to keep that promise to them, because I know you've probably done that gig where you show up and there's like 3 or 4 people there. You're like, okay, I am now DJing for 3 people. I have done that. I have done an event where like 1 person showed up to this club, and it was just like the most like embarrassing, weird thing. But no matter who shows up, and it's the same thing with these social distancing dance parties. I would show up to neighborhoods where there were 100 people, gathered on their lawns, waiting to party, right? And I showed up to some neighborhoods where there were 6, And I had to do it no matter what, and that's what you got to do.
Yeah. Got to bring the A game. You got to bring the A game. And it's funny how you were talking about perceiving the energy from the audience. I had, when I was on air on radio here in Los Angeles, I had the privilege of doing some pretty big stuff. And the biggest thing that I ever did was performing a very short but quick set on the Hollywood Bowl stage in front of 17,000 people. And I was freaking out. On the Hollywood Bowl, they have this rotating stage. And this is for a show that I help produce every year. It's called the Mariachi USA Festival. And it's all mariachis. But at 8:30, we do what's called the halftime jam. And so Rodriguez, she's the creator of the show, one year comes to me and she calls me, don't laugh, she calls me Sugar Bear. Okay. She says, Sugar Bear, do you think you could do a live DJ set on stage? And I'm all cool. I said, yeah. What did you have in mind? And inside, I'm like, holy crap. I'm like freaking out. I was like, and I'm trying to play it off. She's all like, yeah, I would like to do this, and this. All right. So we get up on that stage and we start rotating. And I had this intro. It was actually the intro to Depeche Mode's 101, where you start hearing this. And as the thing starts rotating, everybody's going crazy. And as that stage rotates, you start feeling the rush. And I just see all this people there. And like you said, boom, you just felt this rush. And I just hit that first boom beat, and everybody went nuts. And I just started doing my thing. Literally, I was on stage for 5.5 minutes. Just quick mixing. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
But it was such a rush, and I was able to do that again when I would broadcast live from nightclubs and stuff like that, but not to that extent. At a nightclub, the most I had was 1,000 people, the biggest nightclub here. But
Still
from
a
the
lot.
17,000, that's a rush.
17,000. Yeah. I think that's my biggest audience is around that at the stadium for the Utah Jazz.
Wow.
I did a wedding 2 weeks ago. The mother of the bride goes, so my husband and I were trying to figure it out, and I finally placed it. You're the host for the halftime shows for the Jazz. I'm like, yeah, that's me. But yeah.
That is cool.
I think the Jazz Arena sits around 22,000 or something. I can't remember. But not everybody sticks around for the halftime show. But I probably had upwards to around 15,000.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
Watching this show. It's amazing. It's an amazing rush. Yes, for sure.
I mean, me being the person that I am, I love watching all these halftime shows and stuff like that. I love checking out, how the host, projects his energy. I also like, the production element of stuff. I love, like when I go to Vegas, I love catching the shows, and I look at things and I'd say, how can I incorporate something like this on a very, very small level at my performances, at my, DJ gigs and stuff like that. And I get ideas for lighting and stuff like that. But you are definitely an inspiration to many people. You've been helping a lot of DJs with your speaking engagements at all these DJ conferences and stuff. And like I say, I'm very grateful to be able to have met you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
And chat with you many times. And I hope that soon we'll be able to hang out in person again, maybe at Mobile Beat next year, and catch up.
Yeah. That is my hope as well. Hopefully we can all reunite and get back to a sense of normalcy and being able to be around each other. And that's what we need, is human connection. But the cool thing about this, though, is this has forced us to connect in different ways. Yeah. And we maybe wouldn't have done this otherwise. We would have seen each other at Mobile Beat if we were having it in Vegas a couple months ago. But no. But we're connecting this way, and I think it's a good thing as well.
It is. So my last question for you. What's next for Rob Ferre?
Oh, boy. What is next? I wanted to move. we were getting ready to move during quarantine. It was right before we had the house all ready. It was painted. It was set up, ready to go. We took the pictures, and then, boom, COVID hit, and it didn't happen. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is create a lifestyle where we can live comfortably, travel, and just be able to enjoy life. And so if you're asking business-wise, I don't know what the future brings. What is next for me is being able just to move forward and be optimistic about my opportunities, and being able to maybe do more of these virtual events, and being able just to find new opportunities and new ways to entertain people. So that's what's next for me, is just moving forward. What would have been next right now? Today, I should have been in France emceeing a wedding at a chateau.
Wow.
It would have been my first international wedding.
Wow.
And that didn't happen. So here we are today. So that would have been next.
Instead of being in France over there, you're over here with DJ Fernando G chatting away.
Yeah. But I think what's really next is we have a Disney cruise scheduled in December. And
nice.
I think a lot of people maybe lose sight of taking time to hang out with your family and travel. Yeah. That's what I make money for, is to be able to experience life, go see Broadway shows, travel, and experience food. So there's that as well.
Yeah, no, that's the same thing for me. My life was getting too crazy with radio. I mean, literally I was working 7 days a week. And unfortunately holidays, I have still two little guys. My eldest is 11, my youngest 8. And, we were missing Easter Sunday and all that stuff. It was becoming a bummer. And I finally decided to make a change in my life. And it was mainly for my family. And ever since then, literally, we've been able to travel. We love beaches. So, every year we're going to Puerto Vallarta, Cancun, Cabos. and just having a great time. Unfortunately, this year, because of the situation, this weekend we're finally getting away. We're going up to a little cabin, a little Airbnb up in Idlewild. Enjoy a little family time, just get away a little bit. But it's like you say, it's all about family and spending that quality time with them. And you work hard to be able to make it better experiences for your family. It's very cool.
You should go visit Las Islas Canarias in Spain. So
really?
They have some nice beaches out there. I lived there for a while. So
heard of it, but I'm definitely gonna take you up on that once this is all said and over. We've been planning a Europe trip. We just wanted to wait for the kids to get a little older, before we started heading.
There you go. Yeah, so they can actually appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
All right,
cool.
Rob. Well,
man,
listen.
thank you so much for having me on this.
No, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate you. And again, just a reminder for those that are watching, all the links to Rob's pages, social media, his website will be linked down below. So make sure you check it out. And of course, hit the subscribe button so that you can hit the bell so that you get notified when we have more guests here on DJ to DJ. Rob, stay safe, my friend. God bless you. And we'll chat soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.